former KEiBA Young Entrepreneur winners. I'd like to welcome onto the stage, first of all, Luke Quilter from Sleeping Giant Media. Thanks, Luke. And Craig Harrison from Aquaread. So just briefly, the success sessions, we've hosted these a number of occasions as part of the K's series of events. And the idea behind them is that when you come along, you get to hear from people who've had success in business, and rather than just being a presentation and some slideshow and yada, 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 you actually get to hear some of their experience of what it took to get to where they are today, some of the ups and downs, and really try and tell you what you might be able to expect and hopefully inspire you, share some knowledge that might help you grow your business. So tonight's success, harder to say than do actually. Tonight's success sessions, Luke and Craig, thanks for joining us. Perhaps you'd like to say a little bit about your business, and then we'll get into a bit more about where you started and what's it been like. So Craig, sorry, Luke first. You.
So the company's called Sleeping Giant Media. It's focused around internet marketing, helping our clients get more traffic and relevant traffic to their websites in order to purchase more of their products or get more of their services. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Great, Luke.
Yeah, my company, Aquaread, we're based in East Kent. We manufacture water quality instruments, which we then export all around the world really. Our export is probably around 95 to 98%. So we are mainly export, but we manufacture everything here in the UK.
Great, so both your businesses are younger than 5 years?
Yeah, so we've got pretty similar timings on this one. So I think we both set up in 2008, and we're running it kind of part-time for about a year. It's going full-time in August 2009, so sort of just had our end of third year accounts.
Okay, great. And how many people have you got working for you, Lee?
So we'll have 15 people in February, and we're hoping to get another, we're estimating 10 more people by the end of the year. Which is
Quite great growth, in fact. Yeah. And Craig, yourself?
There's 9 of us now, and this year really we need another 3 to 4 people.
Brilliant. So the reason I'm asking that is I want you to get a kind of a size, an idea of the scale and size of the operation that Luke and Craig are running. So perhaps I'm going to ask now, let's start you now first, Craig. What was your motivation behind starting the business?
Well really, I've worked for quite a large corporation for probably a reason of 10 years, and really just got to the point where I knew I wanted to start my own company. I've never really found the right ideas, and after kind of trawling the internet and looking at various products, found a niche market for products, and away it went. And you don't look back, and you just kind of, you know it's going to work, and you just keep slogging and slogging, and away you go.
Correct. And Luke, what had you start? What was the kick-off for you?
So I was working for a company called Holiday Extras. It's kind of quite a large organisation. I was actually doing a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now for them, for an in-house team. Saw an opportunity to potentially offer that service to the wider market. Tried to sort of propose it to them. It wasn't so much a priority for them as you kind of would expect, kind of a big organisation. So I decided to do it with a business partner. And yeah, once you're up and running, it's kind of, yeah, there's no looking back. It's a good. I'm definitely not a corporate person, so it's quite nice to get away and do your own thing.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, really. Having the ability to run your own business and be the master of your own destiny, does that make it easier or harder? Do you just get up late or anything like that?
No. You're up early. I mean, you know, the start point was, it's not glamorous in any way, shape, or form. It's, we're working in a dining room, getting up at sort of 6 o'clock, working from 7 till about 11 at night for the first sort of year, taking no money pretty much. But at the same time, is the positive side of it is that it is your own problems. You're not in a situation where you can't do something because of politics or some sort of red tape behind the scenes that you can't really affect. Every problem you have is your problem, and although that is stressful, it's also quite empowering because you have to face it, you have to deal with it, and that's hopefully what makes it a success.
Yeah, similar to Luke really. I was working 9 till 5, and really we're basically working very early in the morning, very late at night. Until really the idea was there, and then when the company formed, it was extremely long days, 2-3 o'clock finishes most nights. But you have to do it, and as Luke says, unless you kind of get on and do it, it's not going to kind of come to you. You've got to get out there and do it, and you've got to make it a success really.
Yeah, thanks. So there's 2 things that come up for me there. One, you both worked before you started your own business, and I'm sure there's some people here who haven't been down that path yet. I don't want that to put people off, but do you think it was a valuable lesson in working for other people first?
I think you can go a number of different options. I mean, there's some people who have gone to university and haven't gone to university. I think there's really, it's kind of your own path. I think the key to it is just, firstly, learning a lesson in everything that you do. So for me, the lesson of working in a corporate environment was that it wasn't something I wanted to do. That was my lesson, and that kind of pushed me forward. And I saw management things that I wouldn't do myself. And so, I think people would learn lessons from education, from university, and various different kind of routes. So I don't think it's kind of specific that you have to work for someone else before you do it. I think just to make sure you've learned something from whatever it is that you decide to do before you go to other company.
Yeah, I worked at a company called Honeywell, and being we were a small unit in East Kent, and I very quickly learned that the way they did things wasn't really the way I thought they should be done. And trying to work in at that sort of environment when really you wanted to kind of get on, make decisions and just make things happen, you felt like we were pulled back all the time and answering to kind of the food chain, and I was getting nowhere at all, and that really kind of turned me around from corporate kind of companies and thought, no, I'd rather do something myself.
And when you've been running the business, excuse me, you've been running the business for about a year, working a lot. Was there a breakthrough? Did you get someone involved to help you break through?
I wouldn't say there's a breakthrough as such. I think it's for us, it's come over time. I think we kind of knew we were on the right track. We were getting more and more clients as the time went by. I think we had from a sort of financial perspective, we've had more of a breakthrough years 2 to 3, where you've got the foundations in place at that point. I think the first year you're just 100% involved, doing everything you possibly can, and then as you kind of gain confidence and kind of positioning in the market, it becomes a bit easier. So I think it's just a gradual process for our business. It wasn't one moment where suddenly it worked, and we kept our cost base very low right from the beginning. We worked from a dining room, so there was very no outgoings for us. So we didn't need to necessarily make it instantly hugely profitable. And I would say I would recommend that to anyone, particularly at the moment when it's very difficult to get a lot of funding. Just keep your cost base low, and then over time you're putting yourself under additional pressure, trying to make it work in a timescale that may not be achievable.
Yeah, well, we Aquaread was running really for a year before we launched our products, so we had kind of a year of designing the products, testing them, getting ready for market. So it's quite a scary time. We invested a lot in stock. We had finished units on the shelves, and really no customer until we were kind of confident with the product. Some say it's the wrong way around of doing things, but we wanted to kind of keep everything behind closed doors. When we were ready to go, we kind of went international from day one and just banged the drum, and that's really how we kind of grew from there. And we have seen rapid growth since we kind of started shipping products in 2009.
And when we spoke on the phone, we chatted before this event, and we talked about mentors and who's guided you and what kind of support have you had and how important is that to be part of the foundation and KEiBA to a certain extent as well, is the mentorship and the support you get from more established businesses. Is that something you recommend? Is something you did?
I would definitely recommend it, yeah. I think no matter how much you think you know, there's loads of stuff you don't even know that you don't know. So it's a case of working with other people to try to increase your kind of understanding of things that you just don't even know are on the radar when you set up a business. For us, we did it through a chairman who actually had a meeting with today, and it's a case of it's a really good opportunity to kind of review what you're doing as a business, and he's been kind of always there in the background helping us out. We've done it through an equity element, but just through the Kent Foundation you can do huge amounts to get mentors to help you kind of avoid problems that you don't even know exist, and when you start up a business you just simply don't know how it's going to evolve as you go.
Well, we've got a technical director in-house who's actually had kind of 25 years plus and kind of starting up businesses to a reasonable size and then kind of selling on. So he's been real good backing for me and getting advice and things on really how to do things or how not to do things. And as Luke said, there's lots of networking opportunities out there, and I think what Paul read earlier, the speed network, was a great idea to allow people to kind of target the right sort of people, because trying to pair up with the right people is quite difficult, and at the end of the day there's a lot more people out there that know a lot more than what you're doing, so it's great to go and kind of ask people questions and get some support.
And you both touched on I've heard you both sort of touch on sales and marketing there. How important is that? If you've got to get out there and just can't start sell?
Yeah, I think it obviously depends on the type of business that you have in terms of how you'd approach it. I mean, we do a lot of our own marketing, networking events, and supporting different kind of charities and things like that. So it kind of with whatever works best for you. But I mean, absolutely, you've got to put yourself out there and make sure that people know your name, and so they get more likely to kind of get in contact with you directly. So it's absolutely imperative. You can't ignore that part of the business. It's the lifeblood of it, basically.
Yeah, from our point of view, we kind of export around probably around 80 countries around the world, so kind of trying to manage that is pretty difficult. We've got a dedicated team in-house for that, but early on it's kind of trying to get people in countries around the other side of the world to know your product, understand it and buy it, and it's quite a difficult thing to do.
How do you do that, Graham?
How do we do it?
How do you currently do that?
We use a company called Sleep and John But really it's quite difficult early on. The approach we took early on was to kind of target potential customers, but now we invest a lot of money into the web marketing side of things, and it's just naturally growing, which is great.
Okay. Well, we've got a couple more minutes left. What's the fun side? We're going to talk about some of the fun side. What's the experience been like? What can you say that would really motivate people to dive in and do this? And maybe just sort of tell some truths as well. What's been...
I mean, the early, when I said about the first year, I mean, that was particularly tough, and it can be tough, and I'm sure that things will again be tough for me at some point. It's very much up and down. I think the fun part is that you are absolutely in control of everything that you do. You have no one really to answer to other than clients, which is always kind of a battle, and it will always be a battle. But there's been a lot of negative things and tough times, but I can 100% say it's definitely the best thing I've ever done. It's just so empowering. You get to do whatever you kind of want to do, within reason, of course. And hopefully, as long as things are growing successfully as a business, that the financial rewards of that are start coming through once you become more established. So ultimately, it should hopefully set you on a path which is more than what you would get if you were working for a salary job.
Yeah, same here really. I've learned so much along the way, and to be honest, I've enjoyed kind of most of it. There've been a few down parts. Obviously, there are quiet times, and it's how you get through those and how you kind of can see them coming in the future. And as for these things, they all come over time. But it is really good fun. You do, because we're international, we do get to travel quite a lot. So visiting customers and exhibitions and things is always a great thing to kind of experience other cultures and kind of go and see the products actually in use as well. Is always a really good thing.
Brilliant. Well, we've got time for probably a couple of questions if anyone would like to ask anything of Craig and Luke. Normally there's tumbleweed at this point. Yes?
What was the hardest thing about initially selling? I mean, you obviously worked together on certain things, but what was your first pick-up and call, I've got a service for you?
Right. So the question was, what's the hardest thing about selling?
For me, I think because I came from a client-side background, there was always work to do, and you were just delivering on what someone told you to do. So there was never that part. I think that the biggest thing we found is actually we went into the market and we had all singing and dancing kind of service at a level for holiday extras, which are spending millions of pounds a year on advertising. And actually, what we kind of didn't do properly is we didn't pitch ourselves to our target audience as accurately as we'd like to, and we quickly learned that we found ourselves in a position where we were overselling, so we were over-delivering on a lot of our kind of services. So I think the first bit was a bit it was rocky when we first started, because we were actually not prepared for that part of the one bit we didn't do when we were part of an internal organisation. We didn't do the selling, so I think it was a case of once we'd established confidence in our offering, we were able to better deliver that to people, and that came, I'd say, 6 months in, because we did the whole 12 months of preparation, so we spent a lot of time with a very low risk, in the sense that we learned a lot of lessons in the first 12 months.
From our point of view, being kind of product-based, it was key to us just to get across that the product is kind of equally or better than the competition had, and it's more competitively priced. And it's quite difficult for us because our main competitors, there are only two real big US companies that we're up against. And kind of a small company in kind of England trying to sell products into Australia, it was quite hard to kind of get a big brand image across to them. And we kind of tried to put a brand image across from day one that was pretty big. and they kind of bought into it, and it was quite hard to do, but we managed to persuade them, and we all just came in.
Brilliant. Well, gents, I think that pretty much brings up our 15 minutes. It's been a real pleasure to have you be part of this success session. And for anybody here who's enjoyed this, we'll be doing some more of them as part of the K calendar events. And that just leaves me to thank you, Luke, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Thank you all.